Hey guys, Gliscorium here, and I am bringing you week 1 of the IBA, the International Battle Association. This is a league which I have joined, which has many incredible batters such as Pharynx, Oddsar, and loads of other people. You guys should definitely check it out. Check out all the different channels, linked down in the description below. Now, this season I drafted Tapu Bulu, Rotom-Wash, Scizor, Mega Charizard Y, Flygon, Muck, Miltank, Mismagius, Reuniclus, Rhyperior, and Sork. Now, I like this team since it has lots of different 4x weaknesses which all counteract each other. Like, Tapu Bulu is weak to poison, but something like Scizor completely is immune to that, and Muck resists it, Rhyperior resists it, Flygon resists it. Scizor is 4x weak to fire, but Flygon resists it, Rotom-Wash resists it, Mega Charizard Y resists it, Miltank resists it. Something like Flygon is 4x weak to ice, but I have Miltank to resist it, Scizor to resist it, and Rotom-Wash to resist it. So I have lots of different ways to counteract all of these moves which can hit me hard. Now, I really like this team, and you can see by its resistances and weaknesses, it's pretty well matched. And I also have lots of hazard removal. I have 2 big ways of setting up rocks. Although, I would like to add a Rapid Spinner onto the team, since I do have Mega Charizard Y, which is a big part of the team, and I only really have 2 viable defoggers. And I also have 2 very good clerics on my team. The 3 Z move users I have chosen for this team are Tapu Bulu, Flygon, and Mismagius. Now, let's get straight on to the team. So this week, I have brought Mega Charizard Y, Tapu Bulu, Rotom-Wash, Alolan Muck, Mismagius, and Scizor. Now, let's go into the first set. So first up is Charizard Y. Charizard Y is great for the team since it 2 echoes most of his team, all except Entei, Meteor, and Latias. And therefore I have Dragon Pulse for the Latias, and Ancient Power for the Meteor and the Entei. I have Roost just in case he sets up rocks and I have to Roost on something that switches out so that I can switch back into rocks again. Now, Charizard Y is great for the team as it completely pressures him to bringing stuff like Empoleon, which can set up rocks for him, the rocks setters he has on his team. If I see that he doesn't have Empoleon, I'm going to be really happy since his only 2 other ways of setting up rocks are Meteor and Mamoswine, which don't really want to lose their move slot. Charizard Y has this speed investment, Outspeed, Max Speed, Adamant, Entei, and I have Max Special Attack, and all of the rest goes into HP. Next up is Tapu Bulu. Tapu Bulu is on the team since it switches in on 2 of his main threats, Latias and Tapu Koko. This thing sits in the face of lots of his team, and it's really good for stalling out some of his big offensive threats. Tapu Bulu 2 echoes Latias with Mega Horn, and can Leech Seed and Horn Leech to beat most of his team. With this investment, HP Poison doesn't kill from a Koko unless he has Life Orb, which, in my opinion, isn't a great set since it will take lots of residual damage and will get tore down very easily. Now, next up is Rotom-Wash. Rotom-Wash this week has Toxic, Will-O-Wisp, Volt Switch, and Hydro Pump. Toxic is therefore things like Latias and Cofagrigus, which will want to switch into Rotom-Wash and completely wall it out. Will-O-Wisp is there for things like Scizor and Mamoswine, which are big offensive threats, and I really want to get the burn on there to half their physical attack. Then I have Volt Switch and Hydro Pump to do a lot of damage to the rest of his team. This Rotom set can switch in easily on things like Mamoswine and Scizor and not take too much damage, and with the leftovers recovery, it can sit in the face of those 2 big threats. With this speed investment, it outspeeds Max Speed Empoleon, so I can quickly get the Volt Switch on there to prevent things like Stealth Rocks from being set up. This week, Muck has brought Mixed Offensive with Knockoff, Poison Jab, to hit things like the Latias and the Tapu Koko, and it uses Pursuit to trap things like the Latias to get the damage off that I need to stop it from sitting in there and doing a lot of damage to my team. Muck also has Fire Blast to do a lot of damage to the Scizor. The investment in Spadef makes sure that Tapu Koko can't 2-hit KO Thunderbolt. Although Wild Charge does 2-hit KO, I can easily then switch out into Tapu Bulu or Rotom Wash to take up the hit. The rest of the investment in defense is used to take on the Scizor better. This week I have Scarf Mismagius. With this speed investment, it outspeeds Max Speed Jolly Entei Scarfed, which could potentially put in a huge dent into my team if I left it unanswered. Thunderbolt is on this set to hit the Empoleon, and Mystical Fire is on the set to hit Scizor. HP Flying is there for the Virizion, since his Virizion is a huge threat to my team and I cannot leave it unchecked. The last set I have brought this week is Scizor. This thing completely counters his Mega Scizor, as I have enough speed investment to outspeed no non-speed invested Mega Scizor, and with the attack investment it almost OHKOs the Scizor. Except for the natural gift Fire, this Scizor also has Bullet Punch, U-Turn and Defog. Bullet Punch is there for his faster threats such as Latias and Tapu Koko. U-Turn is there for initiative, and Defog is there just in case he brings Empoleon. I can come in and get the Defog off so that the Stealth Rocks do not completely cripple my Mega Charizard Y. So then, that's the team for the Week 1 battle. I'll see you guys in the battle. Hey guys, welcome back to the battle. This is the Week 1 battle versus Nova and the New York Greninjas. This week, he has brought Virizion, Latias, Mamoswine, Mega Scizor, Licky and Tapu Koko. The first thing I thought when I saw this team is he has no Empoleon. This is great for me since that means he probably doesn't have Stealth Rocks to cripple my Mega Charizard Y on the switch-in. He also has not too many ways to beat Tapu Bulu, which means this Tapu Bulu can sit on the majority on his team. This is great for me since that means Tapu Bulu will be able to use Leech Seed and Horn Leech to recover against so many members of his team. With that all said, let's get straight on into the battle. First off, I lead with Tapu Bulu. This is because it can beat the majority of his team with the likes of Leech Seed and Horn Leech for recovery. First turn of the game, I go for the Leech Seed on the Tapu Koko since it can't do anything to me, so I assume he's just going to switch out, which he does straight into the Mega Scizor. Then I switch into Rotom Wash, as that is my designated switch in to Mega Scizor, but he U-turns straight out into Tapu Koko. This time I go straight back into the Tapu Bulu, as that's my designated count to Tapu Koko, as Tapu Koko can't do anything to me. He does then go for the Volt Switch and go straight back into the Mega Scizor, since Mega Scizor does kind of beat the Tapu Bulu. I do just stay in though, since I know Bullet Punch and U-Turn both can't one-hit KO me, so I just go for the Leech Seed for the recovery. I do end up missing the Leech Seed, which kind of does suck, but it's fine because I can go for the Protect to get the Grassy Surge and Leftovers recovery. I then switch out into Mega Charizard Y, since U-Turn won't do too much to me, and he has no brilliant switch into Mega Charizard Y. He does go into the Licky, which tells me that he is either going to go for the Rock Slide, or he's going to go for the Body Slam, which will both do a tremendous amount to the Mega Charizard Y. I decide to switch into Rotom Wash, as it can take either of those attacks. I do go for the Will-O-Wisp on the Licky, but he does end up protecting the attack. Then on the switch-in, I was expecting either the Latias or the Tapu Koko, so I end up going for the Toxic, which is going to put a huge dent into the Latias, as that means it can't just sit out and recover against my main big threats. I then go for the switch into the Tapu Bulu, as it completely walls the Latias, but he goes into the Virizion. These two switches are fine for me, as I can just sit in on this Virizion and he can do nothing for me. I decide to go for the Protect this turn, as I can completely heal up and then take any attack he wants to go for and go for the Mega Horn on the next turn. He does go into the Mega Sizzle though, and I do just stay in and go for the Leech Seed. With the Leech Seed and the Grassy Terrain and the Leftovers Recovery, I can easily tank up any hits he wants to go for. I end up going for the second Leech Seed in case he wants to switch out on my predicted Protect, because I thought that was the obvious play, but instead he stays in and goes for the U-turn. Then he does go into the Mamoswine. This switch kind of would be really bad for me if he ended up having the Steam Eruption, but this turn he doesn't end up going for it and just goes for the Ice Shard, which is completely fine for me as this Rotom Wash can easily take that hit. He does then go into Tapu Koko, which I managed to get with a Will-O-Wisp, which is going to start racking up some damage on this thing. I do end up staying in with the Rotom Wash just in case he wanted to predict the Tapu Bulu switch in and go for a Hidden Power Poison, which the Tapu Bulu did not want to take. He does go into Latias then, as I go into Tapu Bulu, and Tapu Bulu can easily sit in front of this Latias all day, so that's what it's built for. He does go for the Ice Beam, which is fine because I can go for the Leech Seed. However, I do end up missing the Leech Seed, which really sucks for me. Although I can just go for the Protect and go for the Leech Seed on the next turn after. Although he does make a good switch into Scizor, knowing that I was going to go for Protect. Although now I can just go for another Protect on the Scizor now. He does go for the U-turn, which I know is his probable play, so I'm probably going to sack off the Rotom Wash here, as that's my best play. Although, no, I actually go into the Charizard, as that can easily take a U-turn with its 4 times resistance. He does then go into Tapu Koko, which seems like a good switch in for Bulu for me, as I can take any hit he wants to go for and get the Leftovers and Grassy Terrain recovery. He does go for the Thunderbolt, which is completely fine for me as he does not get the Paralyze, which means he's going to be taking damage from Burn and I'm going to be healing up damage from the Grassy Terrain and the Leftovers. I do now go for the Leech Seed to get some recovery back off the Latias, but he does go for, off the Tapu Koko, sorry, but he does end up going into the Scizor, which is completely fine for me as I can get the Leftovers, Grassy Terrain and Leftovers recovery. I do go for the Protect this turn since if I did not, I would be low enough to potentially die from a U-turn crit, which I really do not want to happen. This turn I go for another Leech Seed thinking that he is going to switch out, but instead he just goes for the U-turn again, which is probably his safest play. He does then go into the Latias, which is completely fine for me, as I can just go for the Protect and get the Leftovers and Grassy Terrain recovery. This is completely fine for me, as he does take the toxic damage, and I do heal a lot of health back from the Leftovers Grassy Terrain. But now he goes for the recovery, which is completely fine for me, since I go for the Leech Seed, which will rack up the damage with the toxic, and I can start going for Horn Leeches to do some major damage to this Latias. Some Mega Horns. Sorry. He does switch into the Sizzle though, which is completely fine for me since the Grassy Terrain isn't up anymore, which means that he's not going to be getting any recovery. Although he does show the Roost, which is kind of fine for me, because obviously the Scizor isn't going to be getting any recovery elsewhere since he has no Leftovers. I do go into the Rotom here to slack it off to the U-turn, although I do not die, which was great for me since now I know what he's going to go into. He does go into the Tapu Koko, but he does go for a Revolt switch straight back into the Sizzle. This seems like a great opportunity for me to go into Mega Charizard Y and put a huge dent into anything on his team. Nothing on his team wants to take a Flamethrower, and most things in his team will get 2-hit KO'd, including the Latias. I do end up getting outspeed though the next turn, so I go for the safe play and switch it out, not trying to take a Thunderbolt on my Charizard. He does go for a Thunderbolt, which is completely fine for my Tapu Bulu, as he can take that hit any day of the week. I do make a double switch back into the Charizard, predicting the Sizzle to come back out, but he ends up just staying in, sacking off the Latias. I go straight back into Tapu Bulu though, to not take another Thunderbolt on my Charizard, but he ends up just going for the Ice Beam, predicting the switch. He ends up dying to the toxic damage, which is completely fine for me, since that means he has no more big threat to my team, and he doesn't have too many more ways to kill the Mega Charizard Y. I do switch into the Scizor on his predicted Bullet Punch, as I can easily go for the natural gift Fire to kill this thing. However, I do not know how much speed investment he has, so I do go for the U-turn this time to make sure that I am faster than him, and to make sure that he is going to stay in on my Scizor, which he does this time, so I know for the next time that engagement comes around, I can easily go for the natural gift and kill his Mega Scizor. We do both going for U-turns, and I end up going into Muck as he goes into his Mamoswine. Obviously, Mamoswine kills my Muck with the Earthquake, so I go into the Tapu Bulu, which can easily take up an Earthquake. I then make a double switch back into Scizor on the predicted Icicle Crash, but he ends up switching back into the Scizor, which is amazing for me as I can go for the Natural Gift Fire, doing a crap ton of damage to his Scizor. This is great for me as the Scizor was the hardest thing for me to punch through, and now that it is on really low health, he's not going to be a problem for the rest of my team. He now goes into Licky, which is fine for me as I can go for the U-turn, doing quite a bit of damage to him and switching in easily into the Alolan Muck. Now the Alolan Muck can just go for a knockoff, doing a lot of damage to this Licky while knocking off his item. He does end up going for the Protect this time though, which is fine for me as it gives me Grassy Surge recovery, Grassy Terrain recovery, sorry, as well as him. Although, I do go for the knockoff on his switch into the Scizor, which is amazing for me, which means he cannot get a Roost off on any of my slow threats, which means he is now dead with the Scizor, and therefore he has not too much to kill the Tapu Bulu other than the Mamoswine. Tapu Koko does end up Volt switching out into the Virizion, which I think is fine for me as I can go for 2 or 3 Mega Horns to knock him out. I do go for the Mega Horn as he goes for the Sword Stance. Now this really scares me because if I make a bad prediction, he can set up another Sword Stance on my Protect and potentially win the game from there. However, he does end up missing the Stone Edge, which is amazing for me because that means I have to make no predictions and don't have to go for Protect to live the second one, which is amazing for me. I do end up killing him with a third Mega Horn, and he does get a crit with the Stone Edge, which is fine for me, since I can take that up and I can get the Grassy Surge recovery the next time I come in. He does go into the Mamoswine on the next turn, which I think is fine for me, since I can get Protect off and get the recovery using my leftovers. So I do go for the Protect, however he does end up switching into Licky, which is completely fine for me since I can go for a second Protect on his Licky as he actually goes for the Disable. Now, I think that's a weird play, but it is completely fine for me since I can go for Leech Seed and then get the Horn Leech recovery using the leftovers, Horn Leech and Leech Seed recovery. He does end up going for the Rock Slide on the next turn, which I think is fine since that's not going to do a lot of damage to me, and that kind of reveals to me that he doesn't have any stronger move to hit me. I do end up switching into the Alolan Muck as he goes for the Fire Blast. Now I wasn't expecting that at all. I just thought I need to knock off his item and stop his passive recovery using his leftovers. So I go into the Alolan Muck on his Fire Blast, which is completely fine for my Alolan Muck. However, my Tapu Bulu would have took quite a bit of damage. Now, I do go for the Pursuit on his predicted switch out. However, he does just stay in, and therefore I do end up taking out his Licky. Now, he goes out into the Mamoswine, which I think is fine as I predict him to go for the Earthquake and I switch into Tapu Bulu. However, he actually goes for the Ice Shard, which does a crap ton of damage to my Tapu Bulu. However, I do not want him getting off a second Icicle Shard on me and potentially critting me, so I do go for the Protect just to be safe and get the Grassy Surge and leftovers recovery. Now, I go into the Scizor predicting the second Ice Shard, and Scizor easily takes that up. Now I can go for the Bullet Punch and do a load of damage to the Mamoswine, if not kill it. I end up getting it down to 11% as he goes for the Earthquake, and I can go for the second Bullet Punch to end up finishing him off. Then when the Tapu Koko comes in, I can easily go out into Bulu, take up hit, and then kill it with 2 Horn Leeches. Now, this was a really fun game for me, and I feel like both me and Nova played really well. He just didn't have enough ways to kill the Tapu Bulu. He said to me after the game he did end up having one really good way of taking out the Tapu Bulu, which was the Latias with mirror type, I think is the word. I can't remember what the move is called, but it copies my typing, which would make him a grass fairy type, which means that my Leech Seed would not be able to hit him, and my stab attacks won't do much damage. However, because I got the Toxic off with the Rotom Wash, that meant that he could not do that play, since he would just die to the passive Toxic damage. Now, this battle was amazing for me, and I definitely feel like I prepped well. However, it was a long battle, and I do feel bad to Nova for making it drag on for so long. I do think you played very well, Nova. I just think the prep and the team matchup was very well in my favour. Anyway guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, remember to like, comment, subscribe for more. I'll see you guys in the next video.